Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley reveals true feelings about living with parents. Savannah Chrisley has revealed her true feelings about living with her parents again. This is the first time she has lived with them in 11 or 12 years. So of course, this would be a big adjustment to make. However, she has revealed what it is truly like to be living with Todd and Julie Chrisley once again. There is a lot to unfold and uncover when it comes to this. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Todd and Julie Chrisley get to come home. Todd and Julie Chrisley are now back home after being in federal prison for over 2 years. This is a big change for everyone. They got to come back into their home and get to be with their family and each other again. Todd and Julie were in prison for tax evasion and fraud. However, President Donald Trump decided to pardon them as he did not see that they did anything wrong. This was the biggest blessing the Chrisley family could have asked for. Right before their release, Savannah had given up. However, it all worked out in her favor. Savannah Chrisley reveals true feelings about living with them. Savannah Chrisley has revealed her true feelings about living with her parents again. It seems the situation is getting to be a lot. Savannah and Todd may not agree on a lot. However, in the end, she is just happy to have her parents home. It seems as though Savannah thinks living with her parents again is a lot. Not that she does not enjoy it and appreciate that they are home, but it is a big adjustment to make. She has said that she was moving out of the home on August 1. So, she needed her space back for herself for the first time in years. It is also a big change that she does not have to fully take care of her younger siblings anymore. For Savannah Chrisley, life has never followed a traditional script. The former pageant queen and reality TV star grew up under the ever-watchful eye of the public thanks to Chrisley Knows Best, a show that documented the lavish, quirky, and sometimes chaotic life of the Chrisley family. And though she's lived in multi-million-dollar homes, traveled the world, and launched businesses, one chapter in her life that continues to haunt and shape her is the period she spent living with her parents, Todd and Julie Chrisley. Recently, Savannah opened up during a rare and deeply personal podcast episode of Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, revealing her true feelings about those years. And for the first time, fans got a look beyond the designer handbags and witty one-liners into a complex emotional reality shaped by discipline, pressure, love, and, above all, deep-rooted family loyalty. I always say I was raised on high standards and low privacy, Savannah began, her voice soft but steady. Living with my parents was like being inside a diamond, beautiful, shiny, but hard and impossible to escape from. She paused, then laughed, a knowing, bittersweet laugh that hinted at both nostalgia and exhaustion. People think the cameras were the hardest part, but honestly, that was the easiest part, she continued. What was tough was always having to live up to being Todd Chrisley's daughter. Like it wasn't just a last name, it was a lifestyle. Savannah admitted that growing up in a home where every candle was curated, every dinner was an event, and every outfit needed approval came with both perks and pressures. She described Todd as a perfectionist with a platinum vision, while Julie was the glue who never let a crack show, no matter how tired or overwhelmed she was. Still, living in that environment, she said, meant that mistakes were rarely private and expectations were rarely negotiable. I remember sneaking a C in high school once and thinking the world was going to end, not because they'd be mad, but because they'd be disappointed, Savannah revealed. Disappointment from my parents felt heavier than anger. It felt like I was letting down the empire. And yet, despite the pressure, she acknowledged that those years forged a fierce resilience in her, a sense of drive she wouldn't trade for anything. There was never a day in that house where ambition didn't matter. If you had a dream, you better come with a plan, a backup plan, and a monogrammed notebook, she joked. Dad made sure of that. But the vulnerability crept in as Savannah recalled nights when the cameras stopped rolling and the walls of their Nashville home felt colder than marble. She described moments when Julie would sit beside her late at night, rubbing her back in silence after a tough breakup or a social media scandal. Or the early mornings Todd would make protein smoothies and say, "Let them talk, Savannah." The hardest part of living with them was that I didn't always get to be a kid, Savannah confessed. I had to grow up fast, faster than most people knew. There was a brand to uphold, a legacy, and I was part of it whether I was ready or not. In hindsight, she says, those years were both her greatest education and her most tender wound. I know now that they were doing the best they could with the life they had built, but it took me years to stop confusing structure with love or success with worthiness. I thought if I wasn't perfect, I didn't deserve their attention. She described how she's had to unlearn some of that thinking in her 20s, especially now that her parents are behind bars. Her role has shifted from daughter to guardian, caretaker, and the emotional nucleus of the family. I used to live with them. Now they live in me, in my decisions, in my strength, in my stubbornness, she said, her voice cracking just slightly. I see my mom in the way I fold towels. I hear my dad when I'm negotiating a contract. And some days it's comforting. Other days it crushes me. But Savannah didn't end the episode on a note of sorrow. Instead, she leaned into the hard-earned clarity she's found through pain. Living with my parents taught me that love doesn't have to be soft to be deep. It can come wrapped in sarcasm and sequins and rules and roast chicken on Sundays. And even now, when they're not under the same roof, I feel them everywhere. She smiled, her tone shifting into the determined optimism that fans have come to expect from her. I used to think the best version of myself was the one my parents built. But now I'm building my own version, one brick at a time. And guess what? It still has their fingerprints all over it. As Savannah continues to navigate a life colored by fame, family, and heartbreak, she remains unflinchingly honest about what it means to grow up under the weight of a legacy. Living with Todd and Julie Chrisley wasn't always easy, but it was formative.